From far and wide, Oilers fans, this is Dolynny TV. And welcome back to another Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. I'm Tyson Dolynny, your host of Oilers Discussions on Dolynny TV. Today, guys, breaking down kind of non-related Edmonton Oilers news in a way. I don't know how to exactly explain this, but at long last, if you're in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, you have had your NHL dream come true, and now you can finally focus on trying to win your first Stanley Cup in over 100 years. Hey, how does that feel, Leaf fans? I think that feels a little bit better knowing you got somebody that agonizes your pain in terms of how long it's been since they last won a Stanley Cup, being an NHL city. That Seattle is officially, as of today, Tuesday, December 4th, 2018, the NHL has unanimously voted in an expansion franchise in Seattle to make the league's 32nd NHL team and give, oh baby, finally, after all those years, I think the stat I saw was the 2013-2014 season, we finally have 16 in each conference, and we are back to perfect. That is good. That is gold. I am so excited for that. And that means a lot of possibilities, right? That means a lot of things for teams in the Pacific, teams in the West in general, and teams in the NHL as well, more broadly. But let's go focus in on a couple of things close to home in terms of Edmonton Oilers land. And especially, you guys know on Dolynny TV, that's all we talk about is the Edmonton Oilers. So what am I talking in terms of Oilers specifically? There's a couple of things. New Pacific Division rival, right? All of a sudden now we've got, it'll be 8 teams in the Pacific Division. Yes, right now, yes, we've got 8 teams in the Pacific Division. Mind you, Arizona will be moving to the Central Division in the 2021-2022 season to make room for Seattle's new team that'll take place that season in the Pacific Division. So right there, you know what? That sounds more like Vancouver's got a new rival. But just in general, that really gives the NHL, in terms of teams located right next to each other, 4 teams clustered neck and neck and neck right there in Alberta, Washington, and British Columbia. That is a beautiful corner. That makes really good travel for 4 Pacific teams. And I mean, how hard is travel down to California and Las Vegas from Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Seattle? It's easy. It's an easy go. Heck, I've been to 2 times flying through. I've been to Seattle's airport and I've been to Vancouver's airport. So, you know what? That's all right. That's all fair. That's great. It is going to make the NHL's travel schedule so much easier for the Edmonton Oilers in the Pacific Division. Think about not having to go to Arizona. I mean, what Albertan doesn't like going to Arizona? Let's be honest there. But okay, let's stop talking okay, enough of that. Tyson, shut up. And let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's go talk about this Seattle expansion thing a little bit more, and then we'll get to why I'm talking about the Edmonton Oilers being affected, obviously. So, confirmed the news Tuesday after the Board of Governors vote unanimously in favor of the decision to expand to Seattle. Let's get a quote here from Gary Bettman. Today is an exciting and historic day for our league as we expand to one of North America's most innovative, beautiful, and fastest growing cities. Right there. Kind of that same Las Vegas feel, right? A market untapped that's growing and is ready for a pro sports team, especially considering Seattle may have NFL, MLS, but they don't have NBA, they don't have NHL, and if the NHL can get in there before the NBA, which is a global player, the NHL is definitely going to take that opportunity, which they have today. Bettman is referring to the now defunct Seattle Metropolitans, who won the Stanley Cup in 1917. So that goes back to my comment about the Leafs fans kind of feeling the pain of Seattle fans right now, as they've both been on a long quest to win another Stanley Cup. Yes, mind you, things are kind of convoluted when it comes to Seattle trying to win another Stanley Cup if you were talking last year. But now that things have been kind of sorted out, yes, the quest begins. Who will win the Stanley Cup first? The Toronto Maple Leafs or the Seattle franchise, whatever they choose to name their team. The ownership group paid $650 million US expansion fee, and the team will begin, like I said, play in 2021-2022. So it's a ways away, right? You've got the 19-20 season and then the 20-21 season. So we're talking 3 off seasons away from now will be the expansion draft. That's fun. That's exciting. And we'll get to more of that in just a second. So they're going to play out of the Key Arena. Good. $80 million or $800 million renovation to the Key Arena. That's going to be cool to see what they can do. Former home of the Supersonics in the NBA, and now, also the WNBA team. I don't know the name, so pardon me there. Let's see here. What else do we got? We got some goodies. Seattle submitted its application for expansion in February, so that goes back nearly beginning of the year, and I've said they have already secured more than 30,000 deposits for season tickets. 30,000 deposits. Okay, you get half of that. You've got a full arena every single night. That is absolutely insane. That is excellent for Seattle and excellent for hockey in the Pacific Division. When you talk about another raucous building, another fun place to play, another place that's challenging for players, there is nothing better, in my opinion, as a road team than going into a building that is intimidating to play in and absolutely wiping the floor with the home team. Let's be serious. That's the same in every sport. We all know that. That's why we love sports. I don't need to go on more of a rant there. Conferences even up. You know what? This goes back to a point I had. Honestly, if you didn't know what was happening with the NHL when Winnipeg got put in the Western Conference after relocating from Atlanta the next year, it was very clear. We were going up to 32 teams at some point. You know what, mind you, it took, 8 years to get there. That's not bad for 2 expansion franchises and a league that was kind of figuring itself out, right? Trying to get away from the tough guy mentality and the bruising and the browning, and now to the speed and the skill of the game. Now, 8 years later, things are going to look very good in the 32-team NHL, and I'm going to make a very good point here. Everybody's making such a mess about, Quebec City got snubbed again. Quebec City, why the hell do they have the team? Quebec City should have gotten the team. Guess what? Quebec City very well will have a team by the time Seattle is in the NHL, in my opinion. By the time Seattle's in the NHL, Carolina or Florida will have relocated to Quebec City. Mark my words, I see it. I will make the prediction right now. Hold me to it. We'll see in a couple of years' time. And more to that point is Arizona will probably be in Houston as well. So that makes sense why the move to the Central Division is being made. In my mind, I think Gary Bettman's had this whole thing planned since 2013. Don't mistake him as a fool and think he hasn't thought very long term into 21-22 season already at this point. Come on. Don't underestimate Gary Bettman. Sure, there might be a lockout a few years from now, but don't underestimate Gary Bettman at all. Let's see, what else do we got? Same expansion rules as Vegas in March. Bill Daly confirmed that any potential Seattle expansion would be subject to the exact same expansion draft rules as the Golden Knights and will take place in June 2021. Teams will have 2 options when protecting players who may be added to the new Seattle team. Either 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie, or 8 total skaters and 1 goalie. So, you know what I mean? That throws a little fun wrinkle into it. Players with no movement clauses will be protected, while any first or second year pros and all unsigned draft choices will not be eligible to be drafted by Seattle. In October, Bettman confirmed Vegas will be exempt from the draft, meaning Seattle will have to choose 1 player from the NHL's other 30 teams. That's the only different wrinkle, right? So you want to talk about exact same rules as Vegas. Vegas exempt, that is the exact same playing field. And now that is where I come to my point about the Edmonton Oilers today, is I want to kind of get your guys' take based on our current roster. This is the problem. This is the problem with the Oilers' current roster. How do you look at an expansion franchise and say, who are we going to give up 3 years from now? I think with the Oilers' current roster, really there's no one you can talk about giving up to Seattle at this point. A couple of my early guesses for the Oilers as to who they may lose in the expansion franchise. One being Ethan Bear or Caleb Jones. See, I'm not even sure of saying it myself. I don't even believe myself at this point. Tyler Benson. See, there you go. That's my 3 guys I really feel could be up for it, depending on development and depending on performance. And then depending on what happens with his contract and what he ends up doing in terms of career-wise, I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins could be a guy very similar to James Neal that ends up in Seattle as James Neal ended up in Vegas. Don't quote me on that. I may be crazy. I feel like I'm crazy when I say that, but I don't know if it's a for sure thing that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is going to be a career Oiler given this Seattle expansion. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. I hope you enjoy the new camera. I look absolutely spanking in full HD finally. Like I said, this is Dolynny TV. I am up on out of here.